Hey guys, and welcome to the St. Joe's Week 3 NFL preview. We're going to be previewing all the games for this upcoming week. Starting off, we have Will with the Thursday night football game between the Steelers and the Browns. So, Will, the first question for you is going to be on the Pittsburgh side of things. When do we start to hold this offense accountable, and who's going to have to step up for them?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to have to start now. Just they have a ton of weapons, and there's almost no excuse anymore. With, Najee Harris carrying the ball. He has not stepped up. He's not filled the role he's supposed to. Mitch Trubisky, he's clearly not been the answer. And, I feel like Deontay Johnson's got to start playing a bigger role, and Chase Claypool, too. The two receivers haven't done much yet, and it's shown on the offensive side. It's the reason they're sitting 1-1. I feel like someone's got to at least step up, and hopefully it's going to be either Harris or Claypool.
Yeah, especially with the injury of T.J. Watt, too. That offense is really going to have to get something going because the defense can't really get much better with the way it's going right now. And on the Browns side of things, would it be an overreaction to be worried about this Browns defense after they let up 31 points to the Jets last week?
I mean, in past years, it might be time to say the Browns defense are falling apart, but the Jets played a ridiculous game last Sunday. Flacco stepped up so well. Their wide receiving core, young and just so strong. They played an excellent offensive game. There were some holes you saw, just a wide open touchdown pass to Corey Davis in the late stages of the game. There were some problems, but I don't think it's time to overreact on them. I think they still have some time to put it together, but I think going into these next few games, they could put it together and, come together with a win or two.
Yeah, division is fairly open. So, Will, I'm going to have you pick the game first. Who do you have between the Steelers and the Browns?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Steelers. Their defense is so strong, and I do see an offense coming together eventually with all those weapons. I'm going to have to go with the Steelers.
Jack, what do you have?
Yeah, the Steelers as well.
I'm going to go Steelers. Like I said, the defense can't get much better, but the way it's been playing right now, I don't see Jacoby Brissett doing much against them. Scott?
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers also. They have so many weapons who can just go off week to week. It's a really unpredictable team, but I like their upside.
Definitely. So, Brian, are we going to get the clean sweep, or do we have one Browns pick?
Yeah, I think we're going to get the clean sweep, and I'm going to pick the Steelers, too. Just their defense is amazing, and they have the potential to have a good offense with all the weapons they have. The quarterback situation is a little off, but I feel like since Mitch has all the weapons, the offense could be a very good offense this year.
Definitely. And we're going to start off the 1 o'clock slate now. First up, we have the Saints at the Panthers. Saints are 1-1. The Panthers are 0-2. Jack, for the Saints, is Jameis Winston starting to settle into his old Tampa Bay ways?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. Just not yet. It was actually a really good week one out of him. He was very calm, no interceptions, which is surprising out of him. But yeah, week 2 was very bad versus the Buccaneers. But overall, the Saints just played a bad game. But I don't think Winston is the big question. I think it's Kamara. Kamara only had under 10 carries the first game and then hurt the week 2. If they can get him in the offense and he can start playing good, I think it would help out Winston a lot more and have him not be, so tense in that Buccaneers game. He was so calm in the first game with Kamara.
Definitely. And on the Panthers side of things, throughout 2 weeks, they have 2 losses, but they are of a total combined deficit of 5 total points. So is this just an unlucky start for Carolina, or is a QB change possibly needed?
The QB change is needed, and the coaching change is needed. There's definitely more to this losing. I just don't think this team is good. Actually, on paper, I do think this team is good, but the coaching and the execution right now is just horrible. That secondary of Horn, Chen, and Dante Jackson, the defense has actually looked really good the first 2 weeks. But the offense, Baker, he's just a selfish QB. He's a very polarizing QB. Some people like him, some people don't. I don't like him. I don't think he's that good. And Rule just needs to go. I think all Panthers fans agree with me that he needs to go. He's horrible. He's not give CMC the type of volume he needs. And Moore and Anderson, great wide receivers, don't get the ball as much as they need to.
Yeah, and with an improved O-line, the weapons are there. You got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, who is arguably the best back in the league. So whether it's on Baker Mayfield just not finding those guys or the coaching not calling up the right plays for him, I think something's got to change in Carolina, definitely. And Jack, you want to start us off with your pick for that game?
I think it's going to be Saints easily. Like I said, these Panthers, I don't think they're doing anything with that rule. The Saints, with Kamara back this week, him and Winston will have a good game.
Yeah, and for me, I think that since the Saints are traveling to Carolina, I think Baker finally gets his first win for the Panthers. There's not much more to it. I think Baker puts it together in that offense finally this upcoming week. Scott.
I'm a Saints fan, so maybe there's a little bias, but I think the Saints are gonna run away with this one from the beginning. I mean, Jameis had an off week, but we all know what kind of talent he is, and when he has a good game, we know what kind of tone he could set his receivers in. So I definitely think the Saints are gonna run away with this one.
Brian.
I also think the Saints, just because Alvin Kamara is coming back, and he's been very good with the Saints these past years. And that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next game in the 1 o'clock slate. Two powerhouse teams, obviously. We have the Texans at 0-1-1, and the Bears sitting at 1-1. So, Saketh, on the Texans side of things, could there really be any complaints with how they've started the season? Obviously, no wins, which is weird to say. But for what we were expecting for the Texans coming in, they got a tie against the Colts. They had a very close loss last week. Are there really any complaints with that?
I mean, I wouldn't say any complaints. I mean, Vegas had this team going into the year as, probably the worst team in the NFL. So I think, consensus around the league was that the Texans were going to be a bad team. But I think, the culture that Lovie Smith's instilled in his short time here, it's been great. I mean, a lot of players are playing with intensity we haven't seen before. Davis Mills is not really looking like a liability, at least. I mean, he's holding his weight. The only thing I would say really is try to get Dameon Pierce the ball more. I think they need to move on from Rex Burkhead. But, other than that, I wouldn't really say there's any complaints. I would just say, there's things to improve on.
Definitely. And you mentioned Lovie Smith. I think it's great coaching on his part because if we're being honest, guys, there's not much talent on that Texans team. So for them to already have a tie, at least in the first 2 weeks, I think it's fairly impressive for that Texans front office and for the players on the field. And on the Chicago side of things, Saketh, are the primetime Packers losses just routine at this point for them, or is there something different about this last game?
Yeah, and I hear people talking about this all the time. People always ask, is it time to stop making a Bears-Packers game a primetime game every year? And I have to agree. I think the Bears are, they beat San Francisco week 1, but I think that was more due to the rain than, Chicago being a good football team that day. So, yeah, I think, fraud is a strong word, but at 1-1, I don't really see, them really moving up and contending in the league.
Yeah, that's fair to say. And their one win was kind of a 50-50 toss-up, like we brought up last week. It's inches of rain they're playing in, so really any team could win that game when they played San Francisco. So, Saketh, you want to give us your winner for this game?
Yeah, so I have the Texans continuing their streak of, improving. So, yeah, I have them going 1-1-1 to start the year.
What a way to start the year, Brian.
Same thing with Saketh. I feel like the Bears are not the best football team, saying that they beat the 49ers. But, it was really not like a good game. It was basically mostly rain, and the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers, Elijah Mitchell, got hurt. So, yeah, I feel like the Texans will take the win over the Bears.
All right, we got 2 Texans. Will.
Yeah, I'm going to have to carry on the streak. Texans over the Bears for sure. I mean, Justin Fields, he's been running around the field. He's not an NFL quarterback. He doesn't have the criteria with the arm. I don't think he could really lead this Bears team to too many wins. And I've loved what I'm seeing out of Davis Mills. I mean, not a good wide receiving group outside of Cooks. Dameon Pierce hasn't shown much in the regular season. I mean, but they're putting together wins, and I really like this team and what they're doing so far. So I'm going to take them over the Bears this week.
That's 3 in a row. Jack, we're going to get something different here?
That's 4 in a row, so that's the Texans. And what I need to see out of the Bears is them to start using Mooney. That's their best receiver, best weapon, and they're just not using him at the start of the season. The Texans, I'm expecting a big game out of Dameon Pierce. Horrible rush defense out of the Bears, and I think it's going to be an easy win for the Texans, actually.
Yeah. So I'll be what was that?
Yeah, I was just going to say I completely agree with your Mooney take. I mean, people were expecting him to come into this year as the undisputed wide receiver 1 with Allen Robinson leaving. And I think, it's been a disappointment from both him and Fields. They kind of fit each other well, like, hypothetically, but it hasn't really worked that way. I think Dante Pettis has been their wide receiver one. So, there's a lot of uncertainty there, but I think for them to win, they have to start giving the ball to, their best player besides Fields.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to break the streak here. I got the Bears winning this one at home. I think Fields and Montgomery had a massive rushing day. Fields was an incredible rusher at Ohio State. Montgomery has been a great rusher, very underrated rusher in my eyes for his career in the NFL. So I got the Bears taking this one. I know I'm the only one here, and everyone else picked the Texans, which is a weird sight to see. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Bears for this one. Brian, up next we have Kansas City at Indianapolis, and for the Chiefs, with how Mahomes is playing without Tyreek Hill, is he back to MVP form, and could we see that award in his hands at the end of the year?
I definitely think he's going to be in the discussion this year, but with all the great quarterbacks out there like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and all the great quarterbacks out there, I feel like he's going to be in this discussion, but I don't think it's going to be quite there this year, but especially losing Tyreek Hill, he could be. I feel like that's why he's going to be in the discussion. So.
Yeah, and on the Colts side of things, they started off 0-1-1. It is a tie with the Texans. It is a loss to the Jaguars, arguably the two worst teams in football, if we're being honest. So, do we see a coaching change in Indy before the season even ends?
I feel like most definitely. You can't just get blown out by like the worst team in the NFL last year. So, and especially since they have Jonathan Taylor, Matt Ryan, he used to be good on the Falcons, so he can always have potential to grow. But the wide receiver core is not there, so I feel like the coaching change is needed. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to change something on the field, in the front office, on the sideline. Hopefully that happens for Indianapolis and for Will, big Colts fan over there. Brian, you want to start us off with the winner you have in this game?
Honestly, it's going to be the Chiefs, and it could be a blowout.
I don't think we're going to see much difference, but I'll throw it to you guys. Will.
Yeah, I mean, as Ben said, I'm a Colts fan, and some people might call it bias. I just call it being educated. Chiefs coming to the home opener at Colts. I mean, they've never started off the season well for the Colts.
Please don't do this.
And it's just nothing's worked. Offensive line, quarterback, wide receiver. No one's been healthy. You got a healthy Shaq Leonard. You got a healthy Pittman and Pierce now. I mean, the O-line, they have two brand new guys are bringing in. They're going to piece it together. They're going to build some holes for Taylor. And I mean, without Hill, who usually tears apart the Colts, I had the Colts winning it.
Oh, you just said a whole lot of nothing there.
It's an early home opener. I mean, the Colts easily have one of the best defenses. They just so many new guys, so many injuries, and they're gonna put it together. And I see this being the start of it.
Yeah, one of the best defenses in the NFL, man. They just did a great job of locking up the Texans and the Jaguars. I mean, Christian Kirk, man, he was locked.
I mean, missing the best linebacker in the league for the past 2 games is gonna come together.
I'm not gonna go back to that. I won't argue Michael Parsons.
All right, but Colts easy win. That's all I'm saying. It's gonna be a tight matchup, but they're gonna get a lot of pressure on Mahomes. He's gonna be running around like he did in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Not only did he say win, he said easy win, which is just preposterous.
Yeah,
Crazy.
what an honest opinion from Will there. So Jack, we're gonna move on to you.
I'm going to go the opposite of that. I'm going to go easy win for the Chiefs. I mean, Mahomes, he came out at the start of the year, and he said, there's no wide receiver one. I'm passing to everybody. What has he done the first 2 weeks? Passed to everybody. It's working. They're winning. They're great. The Colts, they need to change their wide receiver core. It's Pittman and like a bag of chips. There's nothing else. This team is just horrible on the offense. Taylor and Pittman, they're the only good players. Matt Ryan, he's not good. He's like Phillip Rivers again. They're not going to go anywhere. So, Chiefs by at least 10.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to disagree with pretty much every single thing that Will just said a minute or two ago. Chiefs blowout win. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else to it. The Colts are so much worse than the Chiefs. I don't care where they're playing. I got a Chiefs by 1,000 in this game. Let's go.
Oh, well, I'm still shocked that you said the Colts are gonna easily beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are gonna win by a lot.
I'll take back the easy, but it's gonna be a close matchup. It always has been. Past 3 years, it's been within 3 points every time. I mean, do y'all believe me? But come Monday, I want to hear some apologies. That's all I'm saying.
Can't
Yeah, I have the Chiefs here by a lot. Mahomes, people were arguing that he was Tyreek made coming into this year, but
Sure.
I don't think so. He's been really vertical with his passes, and everybody's been getting involved. I mean, Miko Hardman's been doing decent to his standards at least. Marquez Valdez-Scantling's had a pretty big deep threat role, and I think Travis Kelce's starting to take some deeper routes, and Juju's doing a lot of those shorter throws. So I think the Chiefs will steamroll through the Colts, especially with their horrible coaching and horrible receiving core and horrible quarterback play. So.
Yeah, we could go in on the Colts and Will's favorite team all day, but I'm going to transfer us over to the next game. I'll be covering for you guys, and it's going to be Buffalo at Miami, two undefeated teams, which I'm sure people didn't expect from the Dolphins. And the first question I've got is, are the Bills the best team in the NFL? Yes. I don't think there's any dispute about that. I think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs might have an argument so far that just talking about this season, of being the best quarterback and best wide receiver in the NFL. We already know they're the best duo in the NFL by miles, but I think standing alone, might be the best quarterback and best wide receiver in the NFL, not to mention they both have the highest PFF grades at both those respective positions. Just going into some stats from Allen, has the highest yards per attempt at 8.9, but he also has the highest completion percentage among all quarterbacks. He has the most passing touchdowns, the fourth most yards behind some weird guys to see up there like Joe Flacco, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, later. He's also one of the best rushing quarterbacks, which I feel like people forget to think about and mention a lot. And then you have Diggs, who has the second most catches in the league, the second most receiving yards, and the most receiving touchdowns. So in my eyes, for the 2022 season, that is the best quarterback and the best wide receiver on the same team. Moving over to the Dolphins, is this team legit, or is Tua legit? It's a rough question, because I think the offense is legit, but I think Tua, as weird as it may sound, is a byproduct of the offense. I know he's the quarterback, but I feel like they kind of carry him. He has a lot to do with how this offense has been playing, but he has arguably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL, and not arguably the fastest wide receiver duo in the NFL. Those two guys being Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Hill has the most receiving yards. He is tied for the most 20-plus and 40-plus yard catches. Got the second most targets, second most yards after the catch for receivers. And Waddle has very similar stats in all those. So Tua is playing very well, a lot better than he has been in the past couple of years. But I think that new addition of Tyreek Hill really opened up a lot of things and made it a lot easier for him. So I'm not going to say he's really carrying that offense or that he's a legit quarterback going forward.
Why'd you have to disrespect Joe Flacco like that, man? He's coming back for his MVP arc. This is happening.
No,
I'm sure we're going to get into that when we get to the Jets game, and I'll probably disagree with everything everyone says. But we're going to move on to our next game. It's the Lions, who are 1-1 at the Minnesota Vikings. Will, you got this game. For the Lions, is this a start of something in Detroit, or is that Washington win just a kind of throwaway because Washington is just that bad?
I don't know if it's a win to throw away, but Washington's not a good team. That's something to start off with. I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Carson Wentz. He's a good quarterback, but it's not a win to throw away, but they're not a great team. But going back to the first one, yeah, I do believe it's the start of something in Detroit. I mean, they've always kind of been right there. They end up losing a lot of the games they're right there on. But this year, I see a lot. I mean, they barely lose to what I believe is a top 3 team in football right now in the Eagles. And I mean, just a great win here. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been so good, so consistent. Swift, even with a bad ankle, puts up a huge day. And their offensive line has just so improved, so strong. And I mean, that defense is playing super well. I love this Lions team. I have them winning like 8-some games more. I think they pull this one out against the Vikings.
Yeah, I think Dan Campbell is a true game changer for that team as well. And real quick, I'm going to cut you off in the middle of this game. We forgot to pick the winners of the last game, so just real quick. I got the Bills going 3-0 against the Dolphins. What do you have?
This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Bills. I think, their secondary is, one of the best in the league, and I think they'll do a better job compared to the Ravens did last week, trying to at least shorten what Tyreek and Waddle did. So I think we'll see a different outcome.
Definitely. Brian?
Yeah, I got the Bills too. Just they've been great on both sides of the ball. We could see a Josh Allen MVP season this year, just with their wide receiver core, And yeah, I got the Bills.
Well,
Yeah, I think the most outrageous thing said today was Seth claiming that this pick was a tough one. I don't think the Bills have a shot at losing more than a game this year. I see them maybe being the first undefeated team. They are the most complete team ever. I mean, and they're doing this all without Trey White. By the way, guys, he's come back week 5. Like, this team's just amazing. What Josh Allen's doing at the quarterback position is just unreal. They're gonna win by a lot more than the Colts are gonna beat the Chiefs.
of course, yeah, a lot of flaming hot takes here on the St. Joe's Media YouTube account.
Yes.
So, Jack, we're going to move it over to you.
I actually totally agree with this flaming hot take. This is one of the best teams we've seen in a couple of years, and I think they can go undefeated. It's just amazing how loaded they are. And like you said, they don't even have their best cornerback, a top 5 cornerback in the league. I think the Bills just put the Dolphins in their place. Two pretty good wins, but I don't think they're legit yet.
And could we talk about how great Von Miller's been for
Yes.
this team? I mean, when he signed with this team, we thought he was going to be a little bit washed. I mean, he's climbing up that age ladder, but he got a couple sacks week 1. He's had a great impact in the last few games, and I think he's back to maybe his defensive player of the year caliber type play, but we'll see. I mean, he's still pretty old.
Yeah, he was elite in LA too, so it's not much of a surprise. Not like he really took a dip in production since the Broncos. But Will, we're going to throw it back to you to finish off that game. For Minnesota, are there Super Bowl? I know it's very early, but are there Super Bowl chances already ruined?
Well, just I didn't know that the Vikings really ever had Super Bowl chances. I mean, they got a great offense, but Justin Jefferson is still a great wide receiver. Kirk Cousins is still an underrated quarterback. Everything should stand, but I mean, Super Bowl chances for the Vikings, I'm going to have to go with no. I don't think that their loss to the Eagles is a huge deal. As I said, the Eagles are arguably top 3 team. They're so solid, they're so complete, and they're very underrated. Vikings, I mean, I don't have them winning this game. I don't think they're going to be a great team this year. I think they're going to be somewhere around 8-9 wins, but I don't think it's that bad. I don't think their downfall is coming.
So we're gonna pick the games here now. So Will, you got the Lions going 2-1, or you got the Vikings improving to 2-1?
Yeah, we're going to stick the Lions 2-1. I think Dan Campbell, just as he said, a game changer is the perfect word. I mean, their offense is so good, and their defense hasn't had to put up too much of the work. But I see a big defensive game coming here. I mean, Dan Campbell's their defensive coordinator too. They're gonna find a way to shut down Justin Jefferson. I mean, it's possible. We saw it with Just Slay doing it, and I see the Lions just a great all-out game. I mean, Jared Goff's been playing great football. I mean, go for the Lions with this one.
Jack.
Yeah, I actually had the Vikings on the paper right here, but I've been recently watching some Hard Knocks on the Lions, and MCDC, I mean, he's the best. Give me the Lions. That O-line on the Lions is amazing. It can make any QB good, so I don't know if Goff is that good of a QB, but because that O-line is just helping him so much. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Swift, those weapons too. Goff has the right situation. I'm seeing a big season of the Lions there.
Yeah, you brought up the Hard Knocks, and I think it was awesome to see Aiden Hutchinson sing and dance to Michael Jackson, which was just such a sight for the possible defensive rookie of the year. But like you said the Lions got weapons. But for me, although how much I love the Lions, the Vikings, their weapons are undeniable. I see a big bounce back week for the Vikings this week, so I got Minnesota taking it at home. Scott.
Yeah, this is another one I'm really on the fence about. I mean, the Lions are, a fun team to watch. I mean, the emergence of Amon-Ra, Swift has been great. But I really like, the offense from the Vikings. Obviously, Kirk Cousins thrives under 1 p.m. games. He kind of chokes a little bit under big games. So I think we'll see more of, the typical Kirk Cousins average game this week. And I think Justin Jefferson will have a great game. But yeah, I think Dalvin Cook will also have a great bounce back. So yeah, I'll take the Vikings, but I really wouldn't be shocked if we have a close game this week.
Jack.
Yeah, I also agree with Sakef. It's going to be a close game, being that both their offenses are amazing. But I am going to pick the Lions with this game. Just Swift and all the weapons that Jared Goff has. I feel like they're going to pull the one.
Yes, we're going to move over to New England for the Ravens at the Patriots. Both teams are 1-1. So, Jack, has Lamar picked up the pace in hopes of a contract or a Super Bowl?
He has greatly picked up the pace in the contract. In my opinion, he is the soul of this team. He is the reason this team actually won a game, should have won the other game, but the defense sold him. He deserves all that money in that organization. If he doesn't get it, he has to go. He should not be with that team anymore if they don't give him anything. He ranks the best QB in fantasy football. He's fighting out Allen for the MVP case. I could see him maybe squidging a win if they start sitting Allen towards the end of the year. And the Ravens, I actually see them as the third best team in the AFC. Even though they lost to the Dolphins and people think the Dolphins are still better. No, I like the Ravens as a bad second half out of the defense. I do like that defense. I could see him squeaking by a win over the Bills or the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Definitely. For the Patriots, with their past win, which is kind of dicey, how impressed should fans really be about this win?
Very impressed, actually. The Patriots' defense played amazing against those Steelers, even though the offense is not that good from the Steelers. And that might be the best game from the Patriots all year. A little hot take, but the weapons on the Patriots have played their best game. They will. Harris with 15 rushes, 71 yards. Aguilar with 6 receptions, 110 yards, and a TD. Jacoby Myers, 9 receptions and 95 yards. That just never happens for them. I mean, they're not that good, those rep weapons, and they had their best games all three. So, and Mac Jones, I don't like him. I don't think he's going to do anything with the Patriots. I don't think he's going to lead them that far in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. I think they're coming fourth in the AFC is behind my Jets.
And Jack, who do you have improving to 2-1 in this game?
I have the Ravens. I see Lamar just going off again because this is contract season and he's not going to stop. That team's just too good right now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think it's a big breakout game for young wide receiver Rashad Bateman. And also he's still got those targets in Mark Andrews and some other guys. But Lamar, like you said, he's playing for a contract, but he could also be playing for that Super Bowl. So I got the Ravens in this one. Steph.
Yeah, it's not too hard for me. I got the Ravens steamrolling over the Patriots. I think Mac is, a bad quarterback, but yeah, I'll take the Ravens.
This guy is just a big steamroller fan so far. Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Ravens out of this one. I think it's not going to be a blowout, but I think definitely they're going to win by maybe a touchdown, but just Lamar and all the weapons he has, Mark Andrews, and yeah, I just feel like the Ravens are going to pull the win out of this one.
Well,
Yeah, I mean the Ravens, 2-1. They're just their offense is so amazing. I mean, I loved watching Bateman come out of college. I wish my team kind of drafted him. We went with a different guy. He's a pretty good running back at this point. But I mean, Bateman's just so good. He's one of the best athletes on the field at all times. I mean, he has so much potential, and I love the connection between him and Lamar. And yeah, I mean, Lamar he's just gonna keep getting better this year. And there's no way the Patriots stand a chance against his team. The Patriots are a sad team, and they're not gonna win many games this year.
I would like to debate that if the Colts had Pittman and Bateman and they had Hines as their running back, they'd be better than they are right now instead of Taylor.
I mean, I'll go with that. I mean, I'll accept that. I think anybody really could be a good running back for the Colts. I'll agree with that. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's production has to be, a lot of it is based off the fact there's gaping holes every time he runs. But yeah, I do think that that duo of Pittman and Bateman would be just so good with one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
yeah, so we're going to move on to the next game. We're going to move on to the next game. We got the Bengals, who are 0-2, at